Hello everyone, and welcome to the UPI Study podcast. I'm Nimisha from UPI Study, and I'm your host for today's conversation. I'll be stepping into the audience's shoes, asking the questions that prospective students, working professionals, and lifelong learners are often curious about when exploring affordable, flexible pathways to earning a university degree. Joining me today is Reagan Dodson, Head of Marketing at Nexford University, who plays a key role in sharing Nexford's vision of delivering affordable, flexible, and career-focused education to learners around the world. I'm also joined by Manit Kaushal, CTO and Director of Partnerships at UPI Study, who has been instrumental in building university partnerships and expanding transfer credit opportunities that help students save both time and money on their degree journey. Regan and Manit, thank you both for joining me today. It's great to have you here. To get us started, I would love for each of you to briefly introduce yourself. Tell us a little about your role, share what inspired you to work in higher education. Yeah, over to you guys.
I
Oh,
can,
I think you're on mute.
Great. I can go ahead first. Hi everyone, my name is Manit. I work with UPI Study. Something that inspired me to work in higher education was, I think, well, I love studying and love teaching. I've been a teacher, I've been a TA since my college days, and UPI Study is a very similar product that I used when I was finishing my college at Purdue. Those are taking college credits, helped me save a lot of money, helped me save enough money so I could go attend graduate school as well. So, and it basically became my path to serving others as well.
Cool. Thank you. And thank you so much for the warm introduction. I'm really happy to be partnering with UPI Study just to make college more affordable for our learners out in the world. And again, I'm Reagan. I live in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I wish I would have known more about transfer credits and that process when I was an undergrad. And I would have saved a lot more money. So really excited to be here with you today. And yeah, happy to be here. Happy to get into the conversation.
All right, thank you both for the introduction. Now over to both of you guys, and I would be, stepping in, asking some questions which I would think that our audience would be, more eligible to ask for. Yeah, over to you, Manat.
So how we have basically planned this conversation is in five different segments in short. The first segment I would want to touch in is in the future of higher education. We know that AI has come in, and a few years ago we had COVID as well, so students started learning online, and now they're a lot more comfortable what they were 10 years ago, and a lot is changing in this last decade. So on behalf of Nextword, what do you guys think? What do students expect from universities today that maybe the last generation did not?
Yeah, I think, just to take a step back, Nexford, we were built around making high quality career relevant education more accessible and more flexible because that is what our prospective learners and even our alumni expect in this day and age, right? Back in the day, I'm telling my age here, but I graduated high school in 2010 and I graduated college in 2015, and there it was just completely traditional. It was you go to school, you take out student loans, and you complete within 4 to 5 years, and then you go on to get your master's degree. And that was back in the day when artificial intelligence wasn't as um, relevant as it is today. And I think, our students expect the affordability piece because no one wants to deal with student loans anymore. No one wants to deal with a degree that costs them their life savings. They want to be able to get a quality education and immediately be able to apply that to the work that they're doing in their current job or the job that they are seeking. And so we build our curriculum with employers for the modern day workforce and what those modern employees are going to be doing in the modern day workforce. And back in the day, I think it was just based on theory. And it was a lot of, as I like to say, mumbo jumbo. Not hating on my Indiana University degree because it did help me get to where I am today. But I think a lot of those things that I learned a decade ago aren't really relevant today.
Hmm. Okay. Do you think it's probably because of AI?
I would say AI for sure. Not only AI, but I started my career in tech, and a lot of the things I had to learn on the job that I didn't learn in school, which is like, software and different types of applications that I had to, gradually learn in the workforce that I didn't learn in school.
Got it. Got it.
What about you?
Uh, I mean, so just for a background, I studied bachelor's in computer science, so I'm still trying to make the best use of my degree, but I completely stand with you when you say that. Yes, I mean, like I've tried to make a lot of use of my degree, but there's so much more that you actually learn on the job. I think college is just helping you make sure that uh, it's more about the discipline. It's more about showing up, maybe if it's job or if it's classes, meeting the deadlines. College builds that discipline a lot more than high school did that for me. So, but yeah. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
totally agree with that.
Mm. So AI can now write essays, solve problems. It can even pass exams. Now, talking about UPI Study on Nexford, how are you seeing that students who join Nexford, what education is actually for an age where knowledge is increasingly accessible and automated? What do you think how AI is being used at Nexford and all?
Yeah, so the cool thing about Nexford is that it is absolutely mandatory to use AI tools here. We build our curriculum around, what employers are expecting in terms of the usage of AI. And so at Nexford, it is not banned here. You are to use AI. Now, does that mean that you have to use AI like 100%? No. I think in our degree curriculums, in our programs, the goal is for the learner to, um, there has to be essentially what I like to say is AI plus human equals the most optimal output in 2026. And so we teach you how to use AI on top of your human excellence. So there has to be an AI generated output plus a human generated output. And
Okay.
we teach you how to do that here at Nexford.
I see. I see. So if I'm taking it right, a lot of colleges that I have spoken with in the last few years, for AI for them is like a taboo, right? Like
Yeah.
they still get worried. But what you're telling me that Nextword promotes AI and promotes that students do end up learning it.
100%. We promote AI because we know that that's what employers want. They want AI fluent individuals to come into their workforce. And so we have a new concept that we actually coined probably about a month or so ago, and that is what we're building our entire brand around, which is our learners are going to become AI translators
Okay.
in the workforce. And what that means is that an AI translator is actually one of the most in-demand skills or functions in a workforce at the moment. After we have conducted some research around that, and the AI translator is not someone that's just 100% technical. They're not the ones that are completely coding. They're the ones that understand what the technicalities are of AI or software.
Mhm.
And then they're combining that with, business strategy, and they're able to translate both at the same time. And
Okay.
they're able to tell the folks, above them what the AI is actually doing, how it's saving the company money, how it's making the teams more efficient. And that is what we're actually building our curriculum around, is producing more of these AI translators into the workforce.
Amazing. I mean, I kind of agree with the fact that I know that AI can, generate an essay, it can do a lot of other things. But I mean,
Yep.
education's real job has been to certify competence and open doors. And I don't think introducing AI has changed that at all. I mean, it's just a different way of how the information gets delivered, a different tool for people to use. But let's so let's get to our next question. Like when we speak about Nexford specifically, how is Nexford adapting to changing learning habits while maintaining academic quality and engagement? Sometimes employers who still care about GPAs, who still care about how much did you end up scoring on a certain course, might worry about that. For a university that's, yes, teaching AI to their students, does that impact anywhere when it comes to academic quality or engagement?
Yeah, so if I heard your question right, and let me know if I'm totally off here, but in terms of like academic quality, we maintain that by keeping the learning outcomes rigorous. AI can support the learning experience, but it cannot replace this mastery, right? So learners still need to demonstrate understanding and apply those concepts. We create our curriculum so that they can use the skills that they are learning, and one, even if it's your first course here on day one or the next Monday of your job. That is really, really important, because sometimes, in traditional online universities or higher ed, you
Mhm.
really don't start applying those skills until after you graduate, right? It all comes to you after you graduate. But we create our curriculum and our learning experience around skills that you can use literally the next day, because that is what the modern workforce is requiring at the moment. So quality is coming from those clear standards, strong faculty oversight. Our faculty members are really, really involved, and our learner success team are involved in the learning experience. We take pride in that to ensure that our learners are getting the most out of each course. We have those relevant assessments that we do create with employers again, and we make sure that AI is used as a learning partner, not a shortcut. So to like double down on that, for engagement and learning habits, the goal is to make learning feel active, not passive. So we want learners practicing our curriculum consistently, getting feedback. We have an awesome a career success team and coaching program. Nicole Darling, look her up. She's amazing. Our learners absolutely love her. So she gives real-time coaching with our learners. And so we build that confidence with them over time.
Got it. Great. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think whatever you mentioned, I think flexibility is becoming increasingly important for learners, right? Coming to the next question to both of you, Manit and Reagan, do you think we are moving away from the traditional one size fits all university model toward more flexible and personalized educational pathways? What do you both think on that?
I'll let you go first, Manit.
Okay. I mean, well, yes, and I think UPI study is a direct product of that shift, actually. Uh, there was a time when a university degree used to come as one inseparable bundle where you had to take all the electives, major coursework, all the university brand all logged in together. But I think in the last 15 years or 10 years, we have seen that now a student can source each piece from whoever does it best or more affordably. I have seen students come to platforms like UPI Study where they feel we would be more affordable place to take some gen ed courses. But of course, when it comes to taking some major courses, they go end up joining the host university because obviously they want to learn their major courses from the specialized professors and everyone. So that inseparable bundle thing now is kind of become separable. So uh, I think we're definitely moving away, but I'm more curious about that, how much more of this would change in the next 10 years. Like that's something um, I'm still quite curious about. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm very curious about that as well. And then you have Gen Z and the next generation, I think it's Gen Alpha, if I'm not mistaken. They don't want to be in corporate America. They want to be TikTok influencers. And so that's how they're consuming their content, and that's what they want to be. I mean, it's real. So no one wants to go through 4 years of school anymore. The world is moving way too fast for that. I mean, we see AI changing the landscape every single day. I mean, it's rapidly moving so fast. I mean, we're already in July. It's crazy. I feel like we just celebrated the holidays last December. And so when you think about that, people just don't have time to waste.
Right.
People need to be in the workforce because it is becoming unaffordable to live. And so, with that being said, what is the fastest way for me to earn money? To Gen Z and Gen Alpha, and even, the younger millennials, it's TikTok, it's YouTube, it's streaming, which means that we're not going to have more people in the workforce. So, higher education is going to have to mold into what the modern day learner wants, which is fast, flexible, and affordable. Um, so with, t taking that back to talk a little bit more about Nexford, that one size fits all model does not work, especially working adults. We know that they come in different levels of experience. They have different confidence levels. They might have a family. And so that experience has to be more adaptive. I think, we have a pay-as-you-go model. You can pause when you need to if life gets in the way, and you can come back to us. A lot of universities don't do that.
Yeah.
They're like, you gotta keep on. And so that's kind of how we designed our learning experience here.
I think Nextwood is also one of the very fewer universities that's teaching AI, and then with pay as you go, I think it puts you guys not just on the map. I mean, it really differentiates what I'm seeing with traditional universities. I still see hundreds of traditional universities who are still having a hard time just going online in general. And I mean, you guys are not just online and flexible, but way ahead. So yeah, kudos to Nextword for that.
Thanks. Yeah.
All right, going to our second segment, affordability, credibility, and alternative pathways. So, the UPI study, Manit, UPI study offers a broad portfolio of ACE and NCCRS recommended courses that can transfer into an expert degree program. For students looking to reduce the cost of their education, how much can they potentially save and how much time can they potentially accelerate toward graduation by completing transferable credits before enrolling at Nexford?
Well, mostly they could take generic requirements, could be usually up to 30 to 60 credits, can be done through UPI study for a fraction of per credit general university tuition. Um, I mean, the real savings is not just, that the student is paying less from the tuition level rate, but something that even Reagan mentioned in her previous answer, that because of the newer generation and because of adult learners having so many other commitments, the bigger win for students is not just in terms of the dollar amount, but in terms of finishing the degree faster and getting into the workforce sooner. You don't want to be in a position where you start a degree today, spend full 4 years, and by the time you graduate, you see the world has changed. You don't even know that whatever you learned in your degree is even applicable anymore. So that way, if accreditations require students to complete a set of courses which includes gen eds, platforms like ours would help you save not just money but also time. So we make sure you get to graduate on and you get to start your job when you should be able to.
No, that's wonderful. For many students, this may be the first time they have heard about transfer credits. So let's break down what they actually are. For students hearing about transfer credits for the first time, what exactly are they? They might be treating this as a word as a jargon, right? How do they work? Why students should pay attention to them as a way to make progress toward a degree more affordable and flexible.
Yeah, and I'll try my best to answer this. And if Reagan, you think something needs to be added, please
Yeah,
do. But transfer credits in general are college level courses or credits you've earned outside than your host university. So you could be taking from platforms like UPI Study, which is recommended by ACE and NCCRS, that a university then agrees to count towards its degree. So when we think of a degree, think of it as a bundle of requirements which has general electives, other electives, major courses. And with this transfer credit policy, it lets the student check some of these boxes for a much cheaper and a faster pace rather than going slow. So students should definitely pay attention while joining any university, that what transfer credit policies a university has, how flexible they are, so that this could be what I think is the single biggest uh, advantage that they could take that would help them finish their degree faster. A lot of students, even when I went to college, never heard about this option until they are in their last year and they have realized that they ended up not just paying full price, but spending the full 4 years that they could have completed for far less and graduate faster. Like I did my bachelor's in CS in 2.5 years from Purdue,
wow.
when I know people who ended up spending more than 4 years. And by the time they graduated from their 4 years, I even had a master's degree. So, I mean, that's how you should take transfer credits. You're still learning the important part of your degree with the college, with the specialized professors. But when it comes to just general electives, we also have courses which have been developed by professors from top universities around the states and then recommended further by NCCRS and ACE. Reagan, if anything you think I missed explaining, please.
Yeah, that was spot on, Manit. I think too, just to kind of tie it back to our agreement with UPI Study, is that, through this agreement, there are around 69 UPI Study courses recognized by Nexford with you all, which is fantastic. I mean, I think that's one of the things that separates us out from other online universities. And it's certainly one of the things that brings more learners to us as they are shopping around for online higher education, is because we're very generous with our transfer credit policy, especially for our undergraduate degree. So learners can transfer up to 75% of the degree requirements, which is up to 90 credits for a 120 credit bachelor's degree. So that means the learner could potentially complete a significant portion of their degree pathway before even enrolling at Nexford. So then they're going to complete, obviously, the remaining required credits with us. The important part really is that this is still subject to our official transfer credit evaluation, of course, but not every credit, unfortunately, automatically applies to every program. It has to align with the learner's degree requirements, but we are still really bullish on the flexibility and affordability piece. And we're not lowering the academic standard. So this is what we mean, going back by moving away from the one size fits all higher education. Learners should not have to repeat valid learning that they've already completed. We really stand by that. So we really are keen on helping our learners move faster toward completion to get to the promised land, like you, Manit, of 2.5 year bachelor's degree and moving on to your master's degree and, getting into the workforce as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So alongside transfer credits, student offer here ACE and NCCRS and regional accreditation. Manat, you also mentioned these two terms, ACE and NCCRS. So these terms, they sound technical. So let's help our viewers and the audience, to simplify them. UPI studies, ACE and NCCRS recommended. Nexford is regionally accredited. For a student hearing these terms for the first time, what do they actually mean and why do they matter in terms of transferability, academic quality, employer recognition, and career opportunities? What do you both have to say in this?
I can talk about what ACE and NCCRS mean, and then the accreditation part, I'll leave it to Reagan. So ACE stands for American Council on Education. NCCRS is National College Credit Recommendation Service. That's a service run by the New York government. And both of them are third-party bodies that evaluate our courses for college level rigor and then recommend how many credits these courses are worth. Uh, One important part is that neither of them grants degrees. That's the job of a university like Nexford. So if any student watching this has completed any of our courses, uh, now that you've done a few courses, the next good step would be to go and check with Nextwood and see which courses could be transferable so you could actually go and get your degree, which is
Yep.
accredited. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, thank you for that. I think too, the regional accreditation piece and Nexford being of that speaks to really the quality and legitimacy of the university itself. So if you're online shop or online degree shopping, you want to make sure that there's accreditation in some way, shape, or form. It means that the university has met the recognized standards around like academic rigor, learner support, institutional operations, and does the university continue to improve, year over year? That is really, really important. So together, these pieces really matter because they create that trust component. So for transferability, learners have a clearer pathway to bring in eligible prior learning. So for academic quality, the credits in the institution have to be, both connected to external review and standard. So when you're thinking about external employers, it gives learners a degree from an accredited university. That's very important, which can matter for, future job opportunities and promotions, even tuition reimbursement. There's a lot of employers out there that will reimburse you for tuition. And then also like the long-term career mobility. So when you think about it, the big takeaway here is like, it's not random online learning being stitched together. I think a lot of people misperceive that. It is really a structured pathway where recommended credits are going to be evaluated and applied towards, an accredited Nexford degree, while still protecting that academic quality component.
Got it. Yeah. So, Regan, one of the things that we have is we have a lot of students who are over the age of 40 as well. And then these students
Mhm.
do not have these friendly transfer credit pathways that universities are embracing today. And they often ask, why didn't we have this at our time, right? A lot of these students
Yeah.
walk, and naturally, a lot of these students also come to us and say that they might have taken some community college courses 20 years ago, which a lot of universities don't recognize, or a lot of universities did not recognize for transfer back then. But what's changing today? We have talked about how it helps reduce costs, but why do you think universities are embracing a lot more this today and they did not do that like 20 years ago?
Yeah, and I think, my first gut reaction to that question, just being heavily inundated with student loans,
Okay.
that I probably will never pay off in my life. Thankfully, it landed me a job, my education, I mean, but I think back then it was very predatory, for lack of better words. And I think the old model assumed every learner starts in the same place. That is not reality. Many learners have already completed college level coursework, but they just don't know the information or the process to get it to apply to their higher education. And I think that now institutions are starting to understand like we're not going to have enrollment if we do not become more flexible.
Okay.
And so we're demanding, I think learners are demanding a change in the uh, outdated traditional higher ed. And that's where challenger universities like Nexford are coming in more and more because we're understanding the market of learners and what they need. And I think it's really important. I think it's really, really important. Transfer pathways are not shortcuts. They are smarter routes. Our learners are becoming smarter in the digital age, and I think it's time for higher education to start keeping up.
You mentioned about student debt, student loans. Do you still see that after these transfer pathways? Like, do you see that less students taking on student loans now, or do you see the debt being still the same somewhere?
Yeah, so that's a really that's a really important question because a lot of our learners at Nexford are going to be I need to go back to school to upskill, or I need to go and finish my bachelor's degree that I started like maybe 10, 20 years ago. And then you have your master's degree learners who, you know, they have their bachelor's degree, they might have gotten it some time ago, and now they want to go back to school to get their master's degree. And so with that being said, we are not I can speak for Nextford specifically. We are not designed for the student to take out student loans. We currently do not offer any type of financial aid with the federal government. Now, if the learner does want to go and get private financial aid, that is completely on them. We will not discourage it. We do understand and promote that your education is an investment. But the like you can get speaking of the United States market and Canada, you can get your I'm sorry, your Master's of Science in Artificial Intelligence and Technology Management with us for $470 a month,
Okay.
right? So what that means is there's not really a need for student loans at that price point. Um, we understand it's like an undertaking. It's like another maybe less than a it's less than a car payment if you think about it. And so we're not designed for the learner to take out student loans. So we do not see our learners taking out student loans. It's very, very small. Now, I can't speak for other institutions though.
Yeah, no, I mean, the fact that even just Nextwood, you don't have you're not encouraging student debt, that's a big thing in itself. Yeah.
Right.
Correct. Yeah, with this information, I think students would be, more curious to start this pathway because this information was not even there with students, now that you have told. So, another practical question, students might ask, when they should actually consider this pathway. Now, I think that they would be eager to start this. At what point should a student decide between starting directly at a university versus earning transfer credits first? What are the signs that one path may make more sense than the other?
Well, I mean, there are two different cases. A student, if, like I gave an example, if you're a student who's older, who's probably had some community college experience, but now those credits are just not valid for transfer anymore because they're just too old, but the subject still stays the same. You could lean towards earning credits first with UPI because you could work around them a bit more faster since you already might know the material a little bit. But if you are a student who wants to get directly the full college experience, even though it's online, and have scholarships that apply to just full-time enrollment, or go ahead and first chat with your peers first, then I'll say go ahead directly enroll with the campus first, and then see if how does UPI fit into your plan. If you see that money or time is a bottleneck, you could come back to us at a later time as well to do some gen eds, and then you could plan your degree accordingly with Nextword.
Mm-hmm.
So
Totally agree.
a student needs to, contact UPI, either UPI study or Nextword, to evaluate what is the best scenario for them, right? So if we were to bring all of these ideas together, whatever we discussed, what would the ideal strategy look like for a student today? If a student wants to earn a respected US degree while minimizing debt, what would a smart strategy look like today?
That I can answer that. I think based on what Manit just said, I think like pretty much to put it simply, if a learner needs maximum affordability and flexibility up front, I would say the path would be transfer credits first, maybe the right move. If they need more structure, support, and they've never been to like an institution before, like pursued higher education, and they need like more information about direct alignment to their degree plan, I think starting at Nexford may be better. That's just my opinion or point of view, but curious to hear what you think, Nana.
I mean, I agree with you. I'll just say that if you're a student who already has some credits, just make sure we have a chart between Nextford and UPI, which course transfers to which one. So have all the documentation ready. So when you're talking to someone in admissions at Nextford, you know that you have all the homework done. So you could ask more smarter questions and plan better. That would reduce going back and forth again and again as well.
All right, going to our segment 3, how the UPI study plus Nexford pathway works. We have talked about why transfer pathway matters. Now let's make it practical and walk through exactly how the UPI study and Nexford pathway works from a student's perspective. So Manit, how does the pathway from UPI study to Nexford work from a student's perspective? They can go look at the equivalency table. So looking just that would be sufficient, or would you prefer any other steps as well?
Well, if it was me, and if you're one of our current students who have not committed to a university yet, uh, the number one thing is you're on a good step if you're watching this video. Number two, I'll say go directly before doing any more courses. Go first directly talk with Nextwood to see which degree you're interested in. Which of our courses fit into your degree plan? You could tell them which courses you've already done or you plan to do. That way, you know that you're not doing any extra courses just for the sake of doing courses. But yeah, once you have your credits in, you could plan what would the next best term for you to start. And the best part with Nextwood is that if you already have a job side by side, you don't have to leave it. Nextwood is flexible, right? And then you can just transfer everything in and plan a degree accordingly. And just like Reagan said, I don't think you also need to go and show up to your bank to discuss student loans also, because Nextwood's plan is very student friendly in terms of setting up the payment structure. So you you pay as you study. There's everything upfront. Yeah.
Correct. So once a student decides to follow the pathway which you just mentioned, one of the first questions is usually about the timeline, right? What does the timeline look like from earning transfer credits through UPI study to completing a degree at Nextwood? And what kind of time and tuition savings can students potentially expect?
So a lot of time we get this question that when we say a student can learn a course faster, what does that mean? Does that mean that they're studying less? Technically, no. You spend the same time, same hours of lectures, you do the same hours of lectures that you would usually do in a traditional university. The only difference is that in a traditional university, you would only attend lectures 3 or 2 times a week. But this way you are getting all the lectures ahead. You're still spending the same hours, but rather than distributing them in multiple weeks, you decide your own pace. So generally what we have seen is that a year's worth of credits could be finished in a few months. It's not just helping you save the dollar amount, but also now you have fewer semesters to work with, and faster you could go and find a new job as you graduate. Because these courses are self-paced, the timeline, it's really a function of the student's own pace rather than something for us to dictate. So yeah. Okay, so we have a question for next week. The most common concern students have is, will my credits actually transfer, right? And you mentioned that transfer credit policy, is still student by student. You guys take the final decision, but let's say we have students who have already taken a few courses with us. Like, what would you recommend for them? That's the number one worry question that we have, that what happens that I've done so many credits from UPI, or in general, I have so many credits piled up from other CLAP exams or community colleges. How do I ensure that these credits will transfer? What should they do first? Should they directly contact your admissions, or if there's any other way you would recommend?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So just to let you know, like the first stage is like you're not in this alone. So when you do apply and you're working with a human admissions advisor to really help you with understanding your unique learning plan, right? So our transfer credits are evaluated based on whether the prior learning is college level, properly documented, eligible under our policy, which again, we are very, very generous and aligned to our learner-specific degree requirements. So we're not just accepting credits because they exist. What we're going to do is work with you on like, does this learning match your desired outcome for the specific Nexford course or requirement? The types of credits that are typically eligible are going to include prior college or university courses, as you stated, Manit, approved ACE or NCCRS recommended courses like those through UPI Study, which is why we're really, really excited about this partnership. And then in some cases, you could get credit for prior learning, such as certain exams, any professional certifications that you may have, or industry training. So we have an amazing transfer page that you can learn more information from. Our undergraduate learners are going to transfer or may transfer up to 75% of a bachelor's degree. And then the catalog list, the acceptable prior learning certifications. For our pathway and partnership with UPI Study specifically, this is where the articulation agreement helps, which is going to create a clearer path. So UPI and Nexford have an amazing landing page that we can link on this webinar if it goes on YouTube so that they can go automatically. So to sum it up is we will give you the guidance up front on what credits may apply. We might advise you to go and for your general courses elsewhere and then transfer those back in. The goal is really for us transparency before enrollment.
Got it.
Thank you for useful information. I think this would lead to another important question to you, Manit. What type of students tend to benefit the most from earning credits before enrolling in a degree program like Nexford?
I think what we have seen is usually working adults and career changers who are not able to post their income to attend the full-time school. We have also seen a newer market come up, a lot of international students who want to study from a US institution, but they don't want to study in person. So Nextwood would look like a good choice for them as well. So if you're one of these, please contact us or Nextwood to know more. But for Nextwood, what does taking transfer credits change the student experience in any way? And if not, like, do they have the same opportunities and outcomes as students who start directly at Nextwood?
Yeah, I would say to answer that question, their student experience is pretty linear. And I mean, I'm biased, but fantastic, whether you're starting directly at Nexford or somewhere else, right? So we make sure that the learning and student or learner experience is, up to par regardless.
Okay.
You're going to get the same outcomes.
I think I would want to focus the next few questions more on the Nextwood student experience and career outcomes. Some of these questions you have already answered, so I'm going to combine question number 16 and 17. I want to know, like, I know you spoken about how Nextwood experience is different from the traditional university experience, but how does even Nextwood help students balance education alongside work and personal responsibilities?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first of all, if you didn't know, what separates Nexford out is we do have a yellow alpaca mascot. Her name is Nexa. She will give you career support, answer any of your questions throughout your learning experience. You can even chat with Nexa right now at www.nexford.com/hello. You will be talking to our furry yellow alpaca. But let me get back to all seriousness here. I think what makes us remarkably different is, developing our curriculum with employers and what their needs are in modern day, like I said, earlier in the webinar. Another thing is that you have really intelligent people behind the scenes at Nexford that are constantly looking at we're surveying our learners constantly. Like we just did an AI readiness survey last month where we're surveying our learners, asking them, how comfortable do you feel, using AI now in the workforce? And 84%, almost 84% of them said that they feel much more confident now using AI. And so we take those stats very seriously, and we're constantly looking to improve. Not only that, but this question, how does Nexford help students balance education alongside work and personal responsibilities? Nexford was designed that way. So you're not coming to an institution or a school where we're like, oh my gosh, we need to, help our learners balance work and personal responsibilities like right now, because that's the feedback that we're getting. No, we were built that way on purpose, intentionally, so that career changers, and now we have a persona that we're starting to see, like a market. They're called the AI futurists, which are the AI translators that we're wanting to build. They're already working, and they have families. So we were designed to be flexible from the very beginning at the start of our inception.
Okay, got it. Next question. Students sometimes worry that online education can be isolating. Do you have any engagement or community features in an online environment?
Yeah, for sure. We're really big on community. Definitely scroll through our social media posts, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. We're always having fun. We get our learners involved as well. They love to talk about their experience with Nexford, whether it's good or bad. Not a lot of bad, I will say. And so we give learners a lot of opportunity um to see each other, right? We have events, whether a lot of it's virtual because we're a very global community and we're spread out, but we do events. They get, free webinars that they can attend with industry experts to learn from outside of their, day-to-day curriculum. And so we do try to activate our alumni as much as we possibly can, so that we can feel like a connected community and not just globally isolated. So that's something that we take very seriously.
Got it.
That's
And what about these graduates who say that they leave university with a degree, but sometimes not necessarily job-ready skills? I know you said that Nextwood focuses a lot more on AI to make sure that, given the current times, your students are much more job-ready than a usual institution. Do you have anything more to add to that?
Yeah, not only are they much more job ready, if you could pull up or like put in the chat the alumni survey from last year. But I should know this quote or this statistic from the back of my head because I look at it so much, but I'm drawing a blank. Our learners report salary increases, they report promotions into managerial roles. They report, AI readiness. So there's a lot more outcomes than obviously just upskilling. There's, tangible monetary outcomes for our learners. And I think that's really important to the modern day employee, right? I know for me, I love walking away with more money. I love seeing a return on investment. And so they are getting a return on their education.
And then, how does Nexford support students in achieving career growth, professional outcomes, greater career mobility? This could be from as small as helping them with resumes to maybe connecting them with employers or anything else you might have to
Yep.
know.
Yeah, so our career, I think I mentioned too, like our career success program with Nicole Darling. We actually we're onboarding a new software as well for our learners, where it's giving you AI career coaching. So we've made that investment for our learners, and essentially it's going to help you with resume. It's going to help you with interview prep. So like if you're on the job market, we're going to help you nail your interviews, right? And so that is embedded in the learning experience here at Nexford. So yeah, to your point, career coaching, resume reviews, AI enabled interview mock-ups or well, mock interviews, I would say. And not only that, but you're going to, again, learn from industry experts if you join our webinars with them. And so, last year I have the stat in front of me. 60% enrolled to accelerate their careers at Nexford. 14% joined Nexford to access global jobs. And so our learners are working at Nokia, they're working at Citibank, Deloitte, LinkedIn, Marriott, Ernst & Young, Pepsi, Microsoft, IBM, you name it. And so you're going to have access to, that kind of community, that alumni community as well. So I think that's really important.
Correct. Yeah. Thank you so much for all these informations. So, Manit, one for you. UPI study serves learners around the world. So, I would like to, discuss the experience of international students. Many students pursuing a US degree are based outside the United States. What unique financial accessibility and scheduling challenges do international students face? And how does the UPI study plus Nexford pathway help make a respected US degree more accessible and affordable and also fun, how Reagan, just mentioned?
Okay, so I'll say one would be currency exposure. Like tuition prices are usually USD. They could be brutal depending on students' home currency. If you're somewhere in Asia, Africa, and the second would be rigid academic calendars. You're in a different time zone. I mean, just on this podcast, we are, I think, in 3 or 4 different time zones. And rigid calendars don't work very well for students. And this is what Nextwood and UPI Study both would help you with. And also about uncertainty about whether a credit will actually be recognized at a certain college. I know UPI currently has 5 to 6,000 learners who are just taking courses but have not committed to any college yet. So this way, with an official agreement and partnership between Nextwood and UPI, we are able to solve all of these 3 pointers. Plus, if you're an international student, please do know that you get a special discount if you end up joining Nexford University when you're taking UPI study courses. We also have a special discount in terms of a lifetime plan where you just pay once and you get access to all 70 of our courses. So you don't have to ever pay again, a subscription model. And it's really more affordable just to keep all these points in mind. So, Reagan, could you share a lot more about student success story that demonstrates how affordable and flexible education pathways, any stories that you have from your students that would be, motivating to hear by any viewers?
Yeah, oh my gosh, there's loads. I think the one that sticks out to me the most would be Brittany. Her name's Brittany. She lives here in the US. She graduated with us maybe like a year or so ago. If you could put the YouTube testimonial in the chat, that'd be helpful. Brittany was stuck in she felt stuck in a like linear career path at American Express. She used to work at eBay as well, and she attended Nexford because she really wanted that promotion. And she got the skills necessary to actually obtain that promotion. And I believe it was a 30% increase in her salary after she graduated with Nexford. Don't quote me on that. I believe it's 30%, but Maya is going to add in the testimonial for Brittany. Brittany is an amazing testament to our outcomes, our learner and our alumni outcomes. And she loves speaking about her experience here at Nexford. I think that is one of my favorite ones. Not because she works at a high profile company like an American Express, but it just kind of shows that, you don't have to be stuck. If you feel stuck and you don't feel like your career path is going upwards like you would like, there are options like a Nexford. Oh, she had a 50% raise. That's even better than 30%. So, coming to an employer-focused school can really get you to where you need to be to unlock those skills that are necessary for those promotions or career mobility that you may be seeking.
Got it. One other question we had actually from our students when we sent out an email newsletter about our partnership is that, and this was more coming from international students rather than students who are in the US, because international students are still getting used to the fact that online degrees are much respected. But in terms of Nextword, what would you like to answer that? How do you see that employers have a perception of online education on an international level, like including US and outside US as well?
Yeah, I was thinking about breaking up the US versus international just because obviously like there's a lot of nuance with the US. I think the US is still learning that the prestigious schools don't automatically equal career or more money. But I think that what we're seeing as we talk with more and more employers, and I can even speak to this as a hiring manager. Um, I'm looking for your presence in interviews. Like we're looking for the skills that you learn. Can you actually put that into action, right? Like it's more than just a credential. Like how are you using what you learned and applying it? And so I think that employer perception has changed a lot. I think online learning used to be seen as an alternative path. Now, especially after the pandemic and remote work, digital learning is much more normalized. And I don't think employers have a choice, right? Like there's more and more online degrees and universities popping up. And many employers are shifting towards skills-based hiring, which means that they care a lot about what the candidate can actually do, not just, where they sat in the classroom. Was it front row or back row? For me, I really don't care. So I think for Nextford, the credibility point matters. We're accredited by the DEAC, which is recognized by the U.S. Department of Education and CHEA. And that gives employers and learners an external quality signal as well. So I think the better answer is employers respect online degrees when they are accredited, outcomes driven, and connected to workplace ready skills. I think that the format matters less than the quality, relevance, and proof of learning.
So, I mean, even though transfer credits and alternative pathways are becoming much more common, many students are still uncertain about them. So, let's unpack some of these misconceptions. Manit, Reagan, transfer credits and alternative pathways are becoming, common, and people are still not able to, understand it properly. So, what would you say that would motivate them to go to this direction and not still be in that misconception?
Reagan, do you want to take it or should I?
Oh, sure, I can take it. Well, we live in an era where you can get loads of information, right? You can go right to your chat GPT or you can go to Google and be like, how do I save money on college? I think that's an appropriate way to start. But I think that, when we talk to our learners, our alumni, it's like the skepticism comes from the fact that higher education historically trained people to believe that there's only one real path, which is, what I said earlier, enroll in a university, take every course, pay the full price, and then move through the same exact sequence as everyone else. So when students are hearing these like transfer credits or that there's alternative pathways, some immediately wonder, is this real? Is this legitimate? Will the credits actually count? Will the employers respect it? Am I getting a lower quality education? These are the things that we're hearing constantly. These are fair questions, though. But I think the reality is very different when the pathway is structured properly. Which is why our partnership is really, really important for the modern day learner. And so, I think, as we said before, today's reality is that our learners want more affordable and flexible ways to earn credible credentials as fast as possible. And they need a balance. And so the one size fits all model simply does not work for their lives anymore. Traditional higher education has failed people, and there is some fair skepticism out in the world. And I think it's our job, having these types of conversations to reset the narrative and show that what the alternative pathways could look like.
Correct. I mean, that's why at UPI Study, we are having this initiative of having the podcast. We just want to drill all these informations to students' brains so that, no matter whatever misconceptions are there, at the end of the day, they are sure that, okay, this is a partnership they can trust to. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Do you have any other misconceptions you have seen on your end that students generally come and ask?
Yeah, so I think one of the misconceptions too is like I think it boils down to credibility,
Okay.
and is this credible? Is this real? Will employers, accept it? Will I even learn anything? Another thing too is like some online universities get the perception of being degree mills where they just pump out degrees and, that's not what learners want. They want a quality education. They don't want to, invest in their education just to get a stamp of, I passed or I failed.
Yeah.
And so I think, that's one of the most barriers that we see is kind of, our admissions advisors do a really good job at turning around that misconception of like this might be a diploma or a degree mill. This is actually a quality education. And so I really, whether you choose Nexford University or someone else, please do your research. Are they accredited? Are they, what country are they recognized in? How are they creating their curriculum? You want to make sure that the curriculum isn't, outdated. You want to make sure it wasn't made in 1987. You want to make sure that the curriculum is keeping up with the times. And those are the questions that you should be asking your enrollment advisor. And you should be looking at, an institution's alumni outcomes report, like the one that Mai just shared, in the chat to see what is happening with alumni after they graduate from online university. If they're not getting promotions, raises, career advancement, there's no point for you to enroll because the alumni, they're telling you exactly what's happening after they invested in this online degree. So those are the questions you should be asking and asking for when you're speaking to online universities.
It has been an amazing discussion today, and I hope it has helped, students better understand that there are now more affordable, flexible, and career-focused pathways to earning a respected US degree than ever before. So before we wrap up, I would love to ask, one final question to each one of you. If you could give one piece of advice to a student looking for the most affordable and effective route to earning a US degree, what would it be? And for students interested in exploring the UPI study plus Nexford pathway, what should their next step be? Making them smarter.
Which
I,
one? Or Manit,
I mean, we both can add something. I would say that if you already know UPI study, the next step should be simple. Go to your website, find the page between Nexford University and UPI study, check the degree requirements with Nexford, and definitely, definitely talk to an admissions team before you start doing any more courses. So you know that what are the right courses that you should be completing with us, and so you can plan accordingly properly. And but yeah, I think with UPI, there is no application, no semester waiting period to get started. So the only one thing that we recommend is that uh, if Nextword's the way, then have a word with Nextword so you could plan better and optimize your time.
yes, that part. And we're always here to help as well. We're here to help make sure that your learning path is as flexible and optimized as possible, and actually get you to the outcome that you want. But yeah, the smartest, and I just want to leave you with this one piece of advice. The smartest path is not always the fastest or the cheapest path. It is the path that saves you money while still protecting the value of the degree you are working so hard to earn. That is very, very, very important. So that's the last piece of advice that I'll leave with you.
Reagan, Manit, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, and Reagan, especially you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure having you with us. And for everyone, whoever is watching this podcast, if you would like to learn more about UPI Study and Oxford University, visit our websites or get in touch with either of our teams. We would happy to help you explore the pathways that's right for you. So thank you once again for being in the UPI Study podcast. And we look forward to seeing you all in the next episode. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, Reagan. Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.